What's up, everyone? I'm Liz Hunt.
And I'm Chelsea Poppens.
And this is the Agency Rocket Show, where we talk about the chaos of running a creative
agency. Keep going, girl. We're trying to harmonize.
Sorry, I didn't know what was happening. I just was doing my thing, and then you were doing your thing, and then
I was hitting the alto. You were hitting the soprano. We were.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was doing that on Wednesday. Thought I only
Wake up! Wake up! Bow, bow, bow.
Wake up! I watched Jurassic Park last night with some friends. We have a monthly cinema society thing.
Ooh.
And while there was many iconic moments, I haven't watched that movie in a long time, and I forgot how many amazing scenes and sayings we all have from that. But I think the most iconic one from that movie is "Hold on to your butts," as Samuel L. Jackson says. I think, and he says it twice in the movie. And
I must have really liked that tagline.
Well, it just for some reason, our group was just really latched onto it last night. And so now it's ringing in my ear, in my head today. So
you wanted to say it at first?
Yeah.
Hold on to your butts.
Yeah. I feel like we need to be reminded for this episode, because what are we talking about today, Chelsea?
I don't know. I think a better phrase would be hold on to your tits. It would be I feel like that would be way better. But
I agree.
But I guess it's pretty gender specific, so that would be pretty bad of us. So in this episode, we are going to talk about what a good website looks like outside of just being pretty. We've already talked about our branding process, and for a lot of our clients, we do the branding for them. So we kind of have the expectation of what the look, feel, tone, and all that stuff should look like. But when it comes to the technical side, it can get a little more in depth. And so really excited to dive into what a good website looks like. Liz, do you have any initial thoughts on how to kick off a successful website project?
Yes, Chelsea, I do.
I knew you would.
I have so many thoughts. Okay, so first, let's say your website is meant to be a continuation of your brand. So you have your visual identity created, you look great, you've got a pretty logo, not a pretty logo, a very perfectly done, strategic, a really pretty logo that you love, and it speaks to who you are. And it defines who you are so well and so perfectly. You have messaging in place and all this good stuff, right? So then next step would be, let's create a website that is a continuation of that visual identity, right? So in the same way that your visual identity is not meant to be, like what you're saying, is not meant to be pretty just for the sake of being pretty, your website can't just be pretty just for the sake of being pretty. There is a lot of strategic thinking that needs to go behind it. There's a lot of planning that needs to go behind it. And for the same reasons and principles that we have behind the way that we brand a client, it's a lot of the same reasoning and principles for the way that we build a website. And like Chelsea's saying, there's just the added layer of the technology side of it, right? So whenever we build a website, we start with the planning and the target audience and the logistics. And what I mean by that are things like the site architecture and what our goals are, what we are trying to accomplish with the website. Is it meant to be kind of just like a front door informational type of piece, or is it meant to be a lead generation piece, or is it meant to be something else? And so we have to talk about all those types of things. What is your primary goal for your website?
No, I was gonna say that discovery process is huge to defining like the audience, what the goals are for that website. Different industries look different, and I'm sure you've kind of recognized it, whether you realized it or not. Whether like if you go to a chiropractic website, you see so many different call to actions, like book now, call us now. Like there's so many, or like even just contractors, like especially in the service industry, if you're home remodels, it's like book a free estimate. You see that like everywhere across the website. So obviously it's clear what you need to do, but for other industries, it might not be as clear. Like if you're thinking of nonprofits, there's different things like you could be a donor. You have to think about the audience of who's visiting your website. It's not just always one person. It could be a donor. It could be an investor. It could be a volunteer. And you have to strategically think about from that perspective, a perspective outside of just you as a founder, as a business owner. You have to think about like those segmented audiences that are going to be able to find you and how they're going to find you on the web. And that's our job. Like we help you navigate the hierarchy. Like you said, we help you understand the audiences that are going to be visiting this site. And we help you understand what type of user experience needs to be in place across all your pages, across your homepage to bring people to the right content and the content that they're looking for. Yes. And then also the conversion paths that we're talking about, like those call to actions. Like what exactly do you want me to do when I find your website?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. The thing I think about when I think about a website is like, it's the brand meets the marketing. The brand is like who you are, and the marketing is like telling people about it. And so like, that's the job of the website is like, hey, this is who you are, but it's also telling people about who you are. So it's like your front door, it's the front door to who you are. And so that's the job of a website. So that's kind of like why I think a website is so important for so many different types of organizations. And I think like most people probably know that, right? So when it comes to a website and like how to make sure that you are putting it together correctly and clearly, one thing that you have to think about is that whenever you are building a website, the idea of making sure that you are providing a clear purpose for users that are coming to the site should be one of your primary goals. And that's kind of what we've been talking about. Making sure that it's super clear for the different audiences, like what you're saying, Chelsea, that they know what it is that they're supposed to be doing. Because yes, there are going to be potential customers coming to your site, but there's also going to be current customers coming to your site. And then there's going to be other types that are just, maybe it's competitors, maybe it's, like you said, investors, or just anybody that could, potentially come to the site. In a lot of ways, you want to pick a hierarchy of your audience and your primary goal for each one of those audiences and pick that purpose for, okay, where do I want that specific person to go? And how do I make it as easy as possible for them to get through my website? So your main target audience for most businesses is going to be the customer, right? Prospective customer or a current customer, one of those two. And so that's like how do I make it as easy as possible for them to get the information that they need as quickly as they can and either make a purchase or get in contact with me to make a purchase, And so like we have to make it super, super clear.
Yeah. And when we map out that site map, that also helps us understand what content's going to be placed on each page and what the actual job of that page is, like you just mentioned. Yeah. And so we talk that through before we ever implement anything into the wireframes or the design or anything to map out that strategy. Yeah. And I guess like the second piece of it is we don't want pages just to have pages on a site. Like if you go to some, for instance, I don't remember anybody specifically, but we've had websites where they've sent their current website to us and we get lost on it. We're like, I don't really know. I don't know where to find what or why these pages exist. And they're just kind of on there. Or sometimes people build websites strictly for SEO purposes and they just get so content heavy. And from a psychological perspective, if you're a user, you're probably not going to spend your time reading through large paragraphs of information in order to find what you want. And that's kind of like where we come in with like that the design aesthetic, a white space. What needs to be a bulleted list versus a paragraph? Or what pages don't need to be on there because they could contact you, which at the end of the day would inevitably result in either a sale or a relationship or something of more value by them just contacting you.
Yeah. I feel like anytime we've ever looked at a client's website, we can always tell the ones who have like let their SEO team like
run rampant.
Like have full reign. Every sentence is like
in Des Moines, near you.
Yes. And it's like, we do this, 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 and this. And then the next paragraph is like, we do this, 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 and this in Des Moines, near you, in Omaha, Nebraska. Every paragraph is like chock full of every single service.
Keyword heavy.
Yes. And it's like, okay, I get it. You want to get your
There was zero pushback.
Like you want to get your SEO juices real high here. But the thing is, you still have to like balance it with people actually wanting to be on your site. You can't
you can't just be a robot.
Yes, like you can't fill it so chock full of SEO keywords and like all this jargon, honestly, that when people actually do click on your website, it sucks because then people are going to leave. So I think one of the things you want to think about whenever you're thinking about building out your website is, yes, filling it with keywords and stuff like that, but you also need to be strategic about your content. Like, for example, perhaps there are some things that you can do to fill it with good SEO keywords, but not make it suck to be on the website for your users when they finally do click. Like have a blog, have newsletters, have articles that you can fill with a lot of that kind of stuff. Because Google still loves that. And actually Google loves that you would be updating it with fresh content, being like chock full of junk. That kind of stuff is like better.
And people expect the educational value from your blogs. Like the expectation's already there. Sometimes the other pages could be a scam unless it's like your about page and your history and people want to get to know you. If you're a small town business and you have to have that really personal touch, like things like that. But like you said, that kind of drives us into that second of like what the core qualities of a good website is that user-centered design. When we're talking about it being designed for the user, not just for the founder. And then also when we're mapping out what that navigation looks like you just talked about, the readability of the website, not just being chock full of paragraphs and content and jargon.
Yeah.
And then even from the accessibility point, we don't always like talk about the accessibility side, but like there's different plugins like Accessibility. Like if you think about people who might be colorblind or from the handicap perspective, like you want to build your website so that colors aren't clashing, like things are legible, like there's not a red with like a blue on top, or like there are people who are deaf or mute. I mean, I guess mute doesn't stop them from reading the website, so ignore me on that one. but from like people who need things like who are blind, that's what I was going for. I was going for blind.
Yes, there you go.
if they need the website read to them, the all image text, things that make it more accessible to people who might have those disabilities that might not be able to find you as easily online. You have to be thinking about that.
ADA compliant and yes, for sure. I love that point that you're making about always making the site user first. And that includes content because the goal here is to get customers. And yes, SEO obviously plays a huge role in that, but you still want people to show up to the site and then stay on the site. And so you have to have a balance of that content, the SEO, but also like usability. And obviously the ADA compliance plays a role in that. That's part of the piece that we kind of walk whenever we are building out a website, because we are not just thinking about making it pretty. We are thinking about all these things. We're thinking about the audience and what it is that they need. We're thinking about the brand and how we can showcase the brand in the best possible light and like show their true colors and their true identity and get their real messaging across, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we're also thinking about how to make it as clear as possible what the audience that we're trying to reach needs in order to get to the simplest action possible, right? And then we're also thinking about accessibility, and we're thinking about content and clarity and user interface, and we're thinking about SEO. So there's a lot of factors that go into this. And it's also why we build custom websites. We don't build templated websites, because these are the things that need to be thought about. And you can't really think about them if you just do an off the shelf site.
Mm-hmm. You kind of touched on it already. Another step in that process is like that strategic brand alignment. I think our team, or even just like at the agency level versus someone creating a website on their own, we do such a good job at, like you said, tying that brand into every single page and the tone and the visuals and the story and the images that we select. But also, like, anybody can type something into ChatGPT and pull out some H1 titles, some copy, and place it in there. And maybe it's like a little SEO keyword friendly, but it doesn't have any personality, and it doesn't always have a personality that matches the brand voice and tone. And our copywriters do an amazing job at like bringing that personality into each page. For instance, like one of our Valley dealers, they're very faith driven. And so we were able to pull in some of those like faith filled language through it that just tied in their relationship with the community into their content, into their story, into like the little headlines that just kind of added that little personalized touch to their page. And it's really cool to see that, like, when we meet with clients and we ask them questions about their business, because like everybody wants to talk about themselves and their baby and how they built what they're doing now. And so then when the clients see that and in the design that we've built out, they're like, oh, they listened. And then they know that we're actually there to take care of them, and we have them front of mind while we're balancing all those other perspectives of like the user experience and how it works together.
Yeah, it's so true. What else is like part of building a website?
We've kind of already talked about users understanding what they need to do, where to look, and kind of like the call to actions. Yeah, I think the technical side is not always clear for clients building their website, or sometimes not always clear for creatives, because when it gets into what's going on in the background, the code, how Google crawls your website for that code, it takes a little more education to understand that, as far as like the fast load time, how heavy are your images, how big are they, because that's also gonna, like, I don't know, in my mind, I'm very visual. So when I think of a website, I'm like, oh, how heavy is the video that you're posting on your site? How heavy are those images? Because file size matters. And that's why we host our videos on like YouTube or Vimeo or a separate platform, so that our website isn't taking the weight of that video. The mobile responsiveness, I mean, that's front of mind when we're thinking about the user. Majority of users are finding your website or your business online through Google Maps. People are on their phone 24/7, and that's majority of where they're finding you. I'd say unless they're like an older generation who's sitting on their desktop Googling things. I do that sometimes. I'm a little old. I like that. I like that user experience. But also just the visual of the mobile, because like when we build that navigation, the hamburger menu and what that looks like, because not every site has a hamburger menu, but it is amazing, because as far as the real estate of that navigation and white space and that visual look and feel of the site, it's super helpful. And some navigations are beefier than others, not all simplified. And so we help you figure out what that looks like and how it can look visually pleasing.
Yeah.
You have anything?
Well, I was just thinking about whenever you are building a site for someone else who's doing this, and thinking about that, one of the things that we do at our agency is we believe in people really kind of like staying in their lane. For example, our designers are designers and our developers are developers. And I've always believed in kind of that stay in your strengths type of mentality. And I know other places hire differently, but I've just always kind of been in the like, I want someone who is really good at development and I want someone who's really good at design. And so I've always had a team of people to work on websites. It's just always kind of been my mentality to like do what you do best every day and play to your strengths, right? And so we have developers. For our process, the way that we work it is our designers will design out a website in Figma, and then we will take those Figma files and send it over to our developer. And in a lot of ways, our developer is like magic. You know,
we have some wizards on our team. Yeah.
Yes, we do. We really do. But we build sites that are in WordPress. And that has been what we have done for years and years and years, probably since the beginning of the company. We have built websites in Drupal in some of our early days. And more recently, we've been building sites in Webflow, maybe for the last couple of years. We've also done some sites that are like whenever the client needed a very, very low cost solution, we've done a couple in Squarespace, but that is never...
That's not our number one roster pick.
That is our plan, like F. You know, like that's if we are like really doing somebody a favor, or if it's like, hey, we just need to throw up a landing page real fast just to kind of move things along. So those are kind of the things that we do. And so we have a developer who specializes in Webflow, and we have a developer that specializes in WordPress. Then kind of the way that we work those out is we just work directly with either one, whichever one is kind of like the best for that specific website, and just like the functionality of the site, whichever one we need. Both of them are really great at their specific CMS. And then for different technical things for those clients, like Chelsea's saying, we really lean on our developers to help us with a lot of the technical aspects of that kind of stuff. And of course, we've learned over the years many, many things, you know, of like how those things work. And obviously we upload all the content to the CMS, but it's really just that we have a very, very close partnership with our developers, and we work really closely with them.
Yeah. And we rely on, like you said, their expertise because they've been doing it for, they do it all the time. That is their lane. But even like continuing on with technicality of websites, that SEO piece we touched on it a little bit earlier. There's a lot that can go into SEO. Our copywriters try to tie in good SEO keywords and juices while writing the line of personality and strategic brand alignment. But also from the technical side, there's those all image texts on those descriptions of the images for anybody who is blind and hearing, kind of like what images are decorative versus what images actually need like an explanation of what they are. There's even from indexing of a site on Google to tying it into Google Analytics so website traffic can actually be monitored. And then even if you go further, there's like Google Tag Manager if people are running Google ads and tracking kind of metrics on each page. But that's a little further down the line. SEO can get even more detailed than that, but just making sure all the links work correctly, 404 pages, that type of stuff, just to keep it high level for y'all.
But that is something that we do as part of building a website for us. Like anytime we have a client that builds a website with us, you and our marketing team go in and add Google Analytics to the site. And once
meta descriptions,
you add meta descriptions. Our designers always add image alt text to the images they upload, meta titles, right? You guys make sure you add a lot of those SEO kind of features so that the site is optimized at launch.
Yep.
And then after we launch, like you're saying, we go in and index the site and force the Google crawl so that Google knows that the site is live and, hey, we have a site. Make sure you're showing the site. So those are some SEO things that we do as part of our website package to make sure that the site is being shown on Google.
My camera was a little exposed. I had to fix it. But yeah, we make it secure with the SSL certification and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And then when we do launch, we make sure that our client has access to make content changes or image swaps or things like that so that the CMS is built correctly and that that's easier for them to either go on WordPress or Webflow and make updates on their own. And then this is just kind of like a little cherry on top, but we also think about that credibility building when we build websites, that trust building, whether that's through testimonials or through like awards or stats or things that are like building up the business and actually like backing like, oh, why should we work with this business? Like, what is the actual credentials for this business? And so that we are always thinking about that type of stuff, as well as clear contact information and just making sure that at the end of the day, our client ends up with something of value and that reflects them in a good light and a strategic light.
Yeah. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on at DayCloud, I think, is having good customer service. I try to bang that drum a lot. And part of having good customer service is making sure that your clients are very well resourced to be able to operate the site. And so one of the things that you do, Chelsea, is once the site is launched, if it's a WordPress site, Chelsea will go in and record training videos on how to specifically to their site. She will do some videos and train them on, okay, here's how you log into your site. Here's how you change content or change photos and videos on your site. And then we'll send those to the client so that they feel fully empowered to make those kinds of changes. But we also don't give them full access to the site. For all of our websites, we maintain full admin and we host and run security and maintenance on the site. Clients pay us for that. And especially for a WordPress site, it's an open source platform. So there's many times that things on a WordPress site are being updated, either plugins or just the platform itself or whatever it is. We don't use a lot of plugins, so that doesn't often change what we do, but we do make sure that the site is backed up every 24 hours and that the security is maintained. And so we do a lot of stuff like that. And so clients pay us a monthly fee to host it and then maintain the security and the technology backups and things like that. For the Webflow stuff, it's not the open source platform like WordPress is. And so the technology is not being constantly updated. But clients do also pay us a fee for hosting that as well. And that is because we offer a couple hours of content updates for them on that, but also just to host it on our platform and on our dashboard and stuff like that. And just to be available for support on the website. That's another thing that I actually think makes a good website is, like you said earlier, Chelsea, making sure that you are taking care of the back end. Because unfortunately, gone are the days of just set it and forget it. It's not how websites work anymore. They do require maintenance and they do require at least a cursory glance every once in a while. So,
yeah. And a lot of our clients really appreciate that because especially our Valley dealers, I have a lot of Valley dealers who hit me up and are like, hey, can you just like take this employee off or add this employee or make this adjustment, swap this photo out, or just like small things here or there. And the fact that they have the ability just to email and I'm like, all right, got it, done. Here's a link to view those changes. And it's just easy peasy. We're not just building towards the end of a project. We're building like a relationship ongoing. And we want to be there for our people and our babies that we've built.
I mean, that's the other thing is like, it continues to make us look good because the site is well maintained, you know, because if things go to hell, then it makes us look bad. So that's also covering our But,
Yeah.
you know,
man, because if we add it to our portfolio on our website and it just goes to junk, I mean,
then it makes us look bad. So it's also like helping ourselves, by maintaining the sites. So,
and oftentimes, like if just as an example, we've had some clients eventually opt out of the hosting and maintenance, and then they end up coming back to us because they had somebody else touch their website and add different plugins in there that end up not looking like the rest of the pages.
No.
Like for those creatives that know what Elementor, like when we build a custom website, we build it a certain way, and then sometimes people will go in and add like Elementor, and
because they don't know how to use it.
Yeah, they don't know how to code or build appropriately. And some agencies or other businesses will just automatically go towards that, especially on the SEO side. They'll just add that. And then we have clients coming to us like, hey, did you build this? And we're like, no, we don't touch Elementor, and that is not our work. And also, like, we can't. I'm like, we can fix it, but you'll have to like either pay us or get back onto the hosting fee. And I'm like, you can't ask us to fix it for free because at this time we've shook hands and passed it off to you.
Not on our maintenance plan, so we can't help you.
Yeah. I mean, we can, but show us.
Right. Well, we can't help you for free. Sorry. You're right. I misspoke.
Bring your pocketbook.
We're happy to help. Yes, and.
Yes, and. I need that on a t-shirt. Just like, yes, and.
Send me money.
Yup, because at the end of the day, we're a business.
Yeah.
We're not a charity. Quote Liz.
I think sometimes because we're women, people think that we are a charity.
Also because we smile so much and they're like, they must be nice and we could take advantage of their kindness. I feel like men don't smile as much. They're just like, No,
definitely not. I smile a lot. And I also think it's because of our age. We're younger, Or
we just look really young because...
Yeah.
I don't know. You look young. You just look...
And look at that. Look at that. I don't look young. Are you kidding me?
In this light, I feel like I still look young, but I have yet to have my child in a couple months, and I'm sure I will look raggedy and age 10 years in that amount of time.
Children do that to you. That is true. I do feel like I've aged like 10 years in this last 12 months.
Why? Because you moved into a new house.
Honestly, I think it's just like, okay, my body is like, okay, now we're ready to be 40. Like
it just gave way. It's like, all right.
Yeah. Yes, I just turned 39 and I think it's like, okay, now we are entering our 40s. And so then it's like everything is...
It's a slow slide to death.
It all happened in 12 months. And I'm like, oh, dear God.
I don't think you look aged.
Thank you.
Not even since the day I met you.
Oh, you are being so kind, but I appreciate it.
I mean, I haven't noticed.
Thanks,
yeah.
Chelsea.
I have noticed me aging though. I think you definitely... Yeah, you go from your 20s, you took selfies of yourself and you're like, ooh, I look good. And then you hit like your 30s and you try to take a selfie and you're like, dear God, filter that. Like smooth blur.
What do you think, boy?
Yeah. I was like, I need some smoothness.
Yes.
These cracks are cracking. These freckles be freckling.
Dude, I love your freckles. I think they're so pretty.
When I stay out of the sun.
No, I think whenever you came to my house or whatever last time and you were no makeup and all your freckles and all their glory, I was like, she's so stinking pretty.
Oh, thanks. Mm-hmm. I feel like they make me look dirty.
No.
Because when they get really bad, I have makeup on obviously right now, but you know how women get melanoma or not melanoma. What's the thing? Malaysia? No.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Where your skin darkens with your hormones?
Oh, maybe it is melanoma.
No, I feel like that's a cancer. Melasma. There it is. Melasma. That's the word. I feel like I sometimes get that where it's just like right above the eyebrow, you get a little darkened melasma, or like right here, just like, age.
Wow.
And since I'm freckly, I feel like it just is more prominent. Ooh, the Lord is with us. The Lord is with us. But yeah, I guess the grass is always greener on the other side for anybody.
It's true. I did go to a med spa the other day to talk about getting these fillers or Sculptra. I know.
Fillers.
And then proceeded to have a big old fight with Andrew about it.
Andrew's like, no, the fillers actually don't dissolve.
I know.
They're there for life.
And it's sort of why I haven't done anything yet, because I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big commitment. And then you see people out there with their face all stretched out.
I know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Or the big lips, people who get big lips and you're like, man, you really got your lips done. Or sometimes I see people with eyebrows that they get super tatted on and you're like, ooh, that was a choice. You will live with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard though, because I'm on camera a lot. And so it's like, ugh.
I don't see anything wrong with the way you look.
No?
No. I think it's just our individual critic.
If I just smile, you can't tell.
Yeah, just stay smiling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Sorry, we got off topic, but...
Not. These are very important issues, Chelsea.
They are. Yeah, but thanks for joining.
This is how you build a website better.
Yeah, look pretty, make it functional, period.
Period. Make me fake, boy.
Make me fake, boy. All right. Well, thanks for joining us on this week's episode. If you like it, please like, share, follow. And also, it doesn't hurt to ask yourself, does your website just look good? Or does it work? Is it functional? Does it serve the purpose?
Oh my God.
I'm going to keep talking. Word vomit.
I feel like I lost track of what
you blacked out. You're just like, are we done? Twitch of the eye.
Is it pretty? Is it pretty? Is it pretty?
Oh, makes a song out of it.
Yes. Yeah. Just make sure your site works well, is talking to the right people, has clear content, and good user experience. And then also, after all that, looks nice too. Mm-hmm.
Or just hire us.
Yeah. Hire professionals. There you go.
Woo. Toodles. Have a great week.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye.